He is back. He is back is what I'm just going to say. One of our favorite guests. You can hear him every weekday morning on 104.5 The Zone. J Mart and Ramon. He is Evolve for life. He is the slowest player on Madden.
1 year.
He also one hell of a kicker, though. I should, I'm not going to tear him down without giving him some props as well. But it is Ramon Foster Hate Week, as he played for the Steelers for a decade from 2009 to 2019. You can follow him on Twitter at Ramon Foster. He is Ramon Foster. Ramon, how are you, dude?
I'm good, guys. I appreciate you having me back again. And what better week than this week right here, right?
Right? It's almost as if we planned it.
You know what? All it takes is a text or two, and we're good to go in this day and age. It's not like you had to look me up in the phone book.
Right. Well, that's true. That would have been, that would have been so
Can you
difficult.
imagine?
Oh my gosh. And especially like a name like yours. So
Fosters. Yeah, Fosters would be 4 pages long.
Can you imagine? And then what if you didn't have like the Hendersonville phone book and you only had Davidson County?
Right. And then it's like, do you do the yellow pages or the white pages?
You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot to consider with phone technology now. Our teachers lied to us. We have a calculator everywhere.
You know what? I think Alexander Graham Bell is somewhere smiling down on us with how far we've come.
100%.
Ramon, how does this week feel for you? It's Steelers Hate Week. Some may even say it's Ramon Foster Hate Week.
Yeah, we would say that. In fact, we did say that. It is Ramon Foster Hate Week.
But you have you have a radio show in Nashville weekday mornings where you talk about the Titans.
Oh.
Explain to me what this week looks like for you.
For me, it's been hashtag cancel Ramon, hashtag boycott J Martin Ramon, boycott 104.5. That's what the week's been like. But
sorry for starting those hashtags, by the way.
You know what? I got your address just so you know. You get a bag of poop at your front door. Don't get mad. But this week is just, I laugh. Y'all guys know me. Like, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to laugh about it and joke about it because I'm not taking it serious at all. Like, I played the game and I played for Pittsburgh. And in those games, I probably took it personal then. I'll be real with you. But as a fan now and somebody that's got to be a pro and cover the Titans, I am laughing so hard because it's so many people that are just, they suck. It's a scrapyard of metal. They're not the Steelers. Ben is washed up. They need to fire Mike Tomlin. I'm just like, okay, you fire Mike Tomlin, your coach is going to probably be worried about his coaching job being on the hot seat. Like, he's a real good coach. Teams go through ups and downs, but I'll say this. I'm saving my pick to Friday as far as who I'm choosing. I'm going to choose with what I think is the better team, what can actually happen. So I'll go that route with it. But a bad season in Pittsburgh is 8-8. They're going to compete every single year.
All right.
They're going to compete every single year. So if this is your year to get them, you better get them because you know this doesn't last long.
When you played, who was your, like, the non-divisional opponent that you hated the most? Like, who was the team that you got up for the most?
Non-divisional opponent I hated the most was probably, let me see, Bills. Non-divisional Bills, simply because the fans travel. They always play hard. I'm talking about always, even in their worst years. Like Kyle Williams going up against him every single week, the LSU stud, he was a monster, man. They had really good players. Some of those players are still there that I played against, and watching them, they were just, it was no day off. If it wasn't anybody there in the AFC side, like AFC North, or let's just say the Patriots. Don't get me started on the Patriots. Then now that I think of that, it may be who it is. Patriots. But Bills players always played hard, and they always gave you everything, even in some of their worst years. So I was just like, yo, let's get this game over with and let's go home. Now, the nemesis, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, New England Patriots. Those were the teams that you just couldn't get over the hump. And then the 1 year we had them, as far as getting home field advantage, they had the whole Jesse James catch, no catch conversation.
Yeah, right.
Like that, we lost that game, mind you that. And that was to determine who was going to have home field advantage in the playoffs. They won, had home field advantage. You want to know what happened when we went to New England that year? We lost. That's the obvious. But home field advantage matter because anybody know, you guys talked about it this year, going to New England, you got to worry about the little outside stuff like fire alarms being pulled at 8:00 at 3:00 in the morning. That happened that year when we went to New England playing the AFC Championship. Fans don't care. Like, they are all about that Boston area. When New England was really humping and just winning rings, they would find a way inside the hotels and pull the fire alarm at like 3:00 in the morning.
That's
And
funny.
then
You always hear about that, but like they actually did it.
they actually did it. Not only that, there was supposedly quotation marks a fire in the kitchen also at 10:00 in the morning. So we had to evacuate like 2 different times that weekend in particular. That's why home field advantage matters so much. So now that catch, no catch, when they certified it years later, like, yes, that was a catch. Imagine how we as players. So I'd say the Bills, and I'd also say the Patriots.
You're lucky you caught the Titans in a bad decade. 'Cause,
That's a good point. Yeah.
you know, like you're lucky, dude.
Yeah.
You're just lucky.
Y'all had some good teams still. Like, let's not forget the Thursday night game y'all had was really good. When y'all were wearing the all blue and everything like that. I think I may have lost once to the Titans.
It was literally, yeah.
I
it
know
was
you lost
literally,
once.
Like your
Yeah.
entire NFL career was like 2009 was the Titans' last good year, and then your entire span, like in the NFL, the Titans sucked, and then sure enough, you hang it up, and the Titans go to the AFC Championship in the first year. So it's like
You
I
needed me
almost
in
think it's-
Tennessee.
I think it's the Ramon curse. I think,
And Austin, before that was the terrible towel incident on the
You
sideline in
remember
08.
right?
Dude, that was when you were still in Knoxville, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And you know what's crazy about that? Nobody will really speak on that. You can trash Pittsburgh all you want to. As soon as the fans start posting that GIF or GIF, whatever you call it, about, the guys stumping on the tails, like,
Keith
no.
Bullock and Lindell White.
Don't post that. So that was that game didn't. The rest of that didn't end too well, did it?
No,
we
the
didn't.
Steelers went on to win the Super Bowl. The Titans lost like the next 7 games. Went on, spilled over to the next season.
Also, you remember when we played down here, we had a player that ended up quitting in the middle of the game, LeGarrette Blount. I'm not sure, but we still may have the rushing record for a single game against the Titans or something like that, Thursday night.
All right, dude.
Well, no one's gonna go looking that up.
I mean,
oh my God.
Our listeners know better than to dive deep looking for
was-
things like that.
You see what I'm
Guys-
saying? Like, I can be petty to a whole back because I got to be a professional, but on you guys' pod, I'm here for this. This is the other side. I tell you, you guys don't want this side.
I tell you what, you invite Ramon Foster over for a dinner party, and he's gonna take his shoes off and wipe them all over the table right before
F
dinner
your
is
couch.
served. My goodness.
Hey, you mentioned though that 8-8's a bad year in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. 17 straight years, the Steelers haven't had a losing record. Remarkable run. I think that's Big Ben's entire career that he's had winning records, or at least 500 records in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This year they're 6-6-1.
Mhm.
They got a tough 4-game gauntlet left. They play the Titans. They go to Kansas City. Then they play the Browns and finish up on the road in Baltimore. They got to win at least 2 of those games. And I mean, if you lose to the Titans, that streak has a
Yeah.
good shot of coming to an end. Kind of take the temperature on Pittsburgh and really the Steelers as a whole right now, how they
Yeah.
feel heading into a season where, I mean, this is kind of uncharted waters for them.
Man, I talked to a guy that's still there, and I was just like, yo, what are y'all feeling? What are y'all going to do this week? He was like, yo, we need this game. Like every week is a need, but like they had an embarrassing showing the last time against Minnesota on that Thursday night game. And one thing they've always done is been able to have the ability to bounce back. And that's been the temperature of this team so far. It's still a super young team aside from a guy like Ben. You got some middle of the road, like veteran guys, maybe year 4 or 5 and stuff like that. But it's relatively a young team as far as the amount of older players they have on it. So finding that identity, finding who they are as an offense has been huge. Getting guys back on defense is a lot like every other team in NFL, like the Titans too. It's just been a bad year for what the standard is for those guys. So winning to them is a week-to-week thing. You got to find a way to win. And that's the thing about it. Coach T always stressed, look, I don't care if we win by 1 or we win by 100. Just go get the dub. His biggest one of his catchphrases, he says, look, I don't care about the labor pains, just deliver the damn baby. Like that's what he is. Like just go get a dub. And those guys had an extra few days to refresh themselves and get back ready for this week. And Coach T knows what's at stake here. I ain't gonna say it's personal to him as far as not having a losing record, because he's all about being a pro. But I know the guys that I've talked to are all in on trying to reset themselves and get a dub at Heinz Field, because I know some guys here were mad about the crowd booing them when you have a bad performance. If they lose this game to the Titans and that makes 2-3 in a row, then that's going to be 2 in a row. They're going to get booed. So that's just the way it works. So because that standard is so high, that standard is always, look, we're either in the show or we're trying to punch our ticket into it. Like that, it isn't a conversation of, we just want to be okay. It's always a conversation of, look, our goal is to sticky Lombardi. And everything else after that doesn't matter. So if they get that opportunity to beat the Titans and get closer to the playoffs because the AFC is so crazy, that's what they want to do.
And you mentioned, the Vikings embarrassment and how that game kind of was handled towards the end. Claypool caught a ball with about 12 seconds left, motioned first down rather than dropping the ball and getting lined up. Clock ran out, game's over. While on one hand, there's certainly motivation to keep that streak alive of not finishing below 500. And also, the playoffs are still viable. Like they still have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. But on the other hand, do you feel like that loss could have been maybe drove the nail into the coffin a bit? Maybe the Steelers with, that big comeback they had emptied the tank and may not have enough to go on Sunday, or maybe even come out flat?
No, I don't think so. Simply because Coach C got a wild way of getting guys on the same page. Like legitimately, he's what do you want to call him? A nerd when it comes to the game. He always tell guys, which is why he always keeps that stern look on his face when it comes to the meteor guys acting up, is look, protect the game of football. Like, don't you ever get in a position where you as a team or as a person are going to lay down and just let somebody roll over you. That's not how he coaches the game. He's one of those guys that says, look, it's week to week with us when it comes to getting the dub. If you need a reset, go do that and get the job done. I don't think, rallying back against Minnesota is going to take away anything, because, again, you look at the situations that happen. Chase Claypool with the ball, whatever it was, however it happened to happen. And also, Freiermuth also had an opportunity to score right there at the end. It just so happens the ball got knocked out of his hand towards the latter part of that game. So opportunities were there. I think the mindset of those guys is going to be a start sooner this week, because the Titans defense is good enough to keep you behind the 8 ball, keep you on the sideline, and just letting their offense run away with it. They will know those types of things. We heard Coach Tomlin today talk about how he absolutely he didn't draft Kevin Byard.
Mm-hmm.
He admitted that today. He's like, I'm a football guy and I missed the mark on that one because I saw what I saw and I didn't trust myself on it. So that ought to let you know the respect factor he has for him, number one, but for the rest of that team and defense. When he says stuff like that, it's not just coach speak. So this team that's going to come into Heinz Field on Sunday, the Steelers, they're going to have that mindset. Either go do your job, you're going to get your face bashed in.
Now, Ramon, speaking of Mike Tomlin, he's a wordsmith. He's a poet laureate is I think what they call it.
Austin,
right?
How about that quote Ramon said that Tomlin had? Don't worry about the labor pains, just deliver the damn baby. Ramon, Austin is expecting a child.
I am expecting, yes.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Maybe that's something you take into the emergency room with you, Austin.
Don't tell your wife that.
I'm really hoping she's born this week. I'm really hoping she's born this week during a bye week, just so, I don't have to worry about Sunday at all.
Steelers bye week.
Oh, look at her. Okay. All right. You've been warned. I'm kidding, Austin. I can't wait to at you. I got a whole list of people.
Add me to the list. No, you know what, Ramon? My goal is by the time you log off this Zoom is I am at the top of that list. I hope I am the number one name on your list.
It's all good. Let me look up the 2014 football game.
Okay.
2014. Oh, cool, dude. Hey, just like a typical volunteer living in the past.
No. hey, records last forever.
Okay. So Tomlin, I just want to do some quick fact checking with you, because as we know, Tomlin is like, he's the Robert Frost of our era.
Yeah.
Just his post game quotes is just it's beautiful. You know, it really, he'll say things in post game pressers and just make you just be like, damn, that's so true. You know.
Yeah.
And he said something, I believe it was not after the Vikings game, but I think the week prior. Where, and I'm just going to read you this quote, and I want you to help me fact check this. Let me know if it's true. But he said, last week was last week. This week is this week. Next week is next week.
It's accurate.
I see no lie.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to spot the lie.
I felt the same way. I just wanted to make sure. Ramon, when you played for this guy, like, and he's chock full of like lines like these. Like,
you know what?
Would he ever say anything and you just be like just like kind of like do like one of those like
a side turn?
Right. Like if it was The Office, you would have just looked directly at the camera and just been like,
no, because if you know him, the way he speaks to you more than anything, I think is what get his points across. I think that's why you don't take him as a joke, or you take what he says like seriously. Like the whole idea for him is, you know, the player coach situation.
Right.
Like, you know, if he says something like that, there was meaning behind it, as far as, you know, putting a timeline in place. And it's exactly what I was saying when it comes down to how he approaches the game. Like this week for the Steelers is 6-6-1 is the record. 6-6-1 is the record. And I think he's going to have them live in the moment more than anything. See, with me being in the locker room with him for so long, I understand that if he's telling you something, then listen to what it actually means, not what he's saying. And I think what he means with this team right now is, if you don't do your job where we are, a lot of us won't be here. Now, I don't think he will be fired or is on the hot seat, but a lot of people, coaches, players will not be around to actually see what next week is going to be like in a room with him.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he clarified, because there was a point there where I was thinking like last week is next week, and then next week
it's
is also
late in the season.
Yeah.
Like the ceiling is the roof.
Right. Yeah. Like it just gets all jumbled. And I'm glad, I was like, oh, you know what? Oh, that's so true. Now, okay. Glad he was there to to sort that out.
Well, it's either that or throw challenge flags, like your arm, like your shoulder's dislocated.
Right. Was there anyone happier than you? You know, obviously being a former Steeler, and you know, I'm sure you still pull for the guys. And was there anyone happier after the Lions got their first win against the Vikings, knowing that they're one other tie, like they're tie? Because I'll be honest, like I've always had this take where it's, you know, you've got the win column, you've got the loss column, and then that tie column is like a zit, you know?
It is.
Because it's like it stands out on your cheek, and there's no way that all the concealer in the world can't cover up that third column in the NFL standings. And when you have when you and the Lions are the only two with a zit, we know where we got that zit from.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like herpes. It's probably like that. Like we know where you got the herpes from, because the only other one in the room has the herpes. And the Lions were that for the Steelers. You had to have been happy that when they finally got that W, so that zit doesn't stand out as much. Right?
Exactly. And that's exactly what it was. So mind you, I've been a part of a tie before.
Really?
With the Browns.
Did you know that a tie was an actual a possible outcome? Because every time there's a tie, people
Najee Harris this year. Yeah,
I knew it was the case, because that's one thing. Like they go over the rules and everything in the book. So I actually listened to meetings, so I knew that was the case. But going into it, whenever, you know, we were driving and they were driving, I think we had one last ditch to score. And then when the clock goes off, you see the referees running to the locker room. I was thinking to myself, is that really it? You know, like that's really it. And guys were shaking hands on the field and just were lost, because it's like, well, I guess this is the end of the game.
It just doesn't feel right.
It's one of the
So
most
awkward.
emptiest feelings ever as far as competition goes. Like, I don't see how soccer does it. Like, to have a tie. Why are you okay with having a tie? And it's almost to the point, like, I know it's the health and safety of the game to not extend the minutes to get guys injured, but somebody's got to win.
Right.
And that was
I would say it does
bothersome.
more damage to players having a tie because they're so confused.
Yeah, I was
It's the emotional
confused.
toll. Yeah.
Right.
It is, but to your point, I was very excited to see Minnesota lose that game because I was just thinking to myself, well, at least we didn't lose.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You can always
Absolutely.
fall back on that.
But
Hey,
yeah.
switching gears to the Titans a little bit. John Robinson made another mid-season move. This time, Zach Cunningham, after you know having some disciplinary issues with the Texans and missing meetings, missing COVID tests, they released him. And this is a guy played at Vanderbilt, second-round draft pick, led the NFL in tackles last season. He plays inside linebacker. That's a position the Titans have been looking for production from Rashaan Evans and other guys for quite some time. And this guy kind of just falls in their lap. Now, it's probably going to take him a little while to get acclimated to the system and everything that the Titans do on defense. But come playoff time, this guy's going to be a huge asset, maybe even into next year as well.
Have you had a chance to ask Vrabel about him yet?
No, but John Glennon did. John Glennon did.
Ramon, you should book Vrabel on for the show tomorrow morning and just only ask him Zach Cunningham questions.
You know what? That's what we did to John Glennon the other day on our show. Just every other question was about Zach Cunningham.
Yes.
And he played it well. I got to give it to him so much so that Schaefer was like, okay, guys. And I had to ask him if Zach Cunningham could help in the kicking game too.
Yeah, right. That's great.
But I would love to ask him now, considering, it is Zach Cunningham week. And this is what he said he was going to do. But the thing that's the most impressive about that is Zach Cunningham, he figured out a way to get out of Houston. I think, honestly, seeing all the guys they let go or not play like Deshaun actually made him to be like, why am I still here? Like, he's in a very precious part of his career. What is he, fifth year, I think?
26 years old.
26 years old. Now is the time in which a pro's pro, a second contract guy maximizes his play, maximizes his earning potential, maximizing, hey, now I'm a guy that has the ability to be a namesake in this league. Why am I going to flush away my career here in Houston? So the COVID stuff to him, we've seen this act before. Antonio did it. We've seen other players. I honestly think Michael Thomas is doing it with the Saints right now.
Laramie Tunsil tried to do it before the season with the Texans.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that's going on to where it's like, I wouldn't want to be in Houston either, although they beat the Titans. And I'm just like, why would you still want to be there? Like, that's not a good place to be at. And him being a long contract guy that has the ability to play, I think he kind of sabotaged it a little bit and worked in his favor. He's back here in Tennessee with a team that has a winning record, and they'll have some life in the postseason. So I don't want to say smart move by him because I don't know if it's all true, but I guarantee you, if he's got to get the shot, now he will get the shot to play for the Titans.
Mm-hmm. And reports, interestingly enough, and unsurprisingly, really, were that Zach Cunningham was thrilled to be released and then picked up by the Titans. Which, I mean, who wouldn't be, right?
Right.
You know what? But this is a good era when it comes to guys and their careers. Say what you want to about, man, the game is kind of messed up. They're ruining the game. But we've seen owners before 1993, because I was a union rep. Owners wouldn't allow guys to leave. Owners would unjustifiably pay guys low amounts of salary. Like, that's one thing I hated about the old era as opposed to now.
Almost like a prison sentence.
It was like those guys gave a lot, played hard. The 85 Bears, 72 Dolphins. 72 Dolphins went out and was undefeated, won the Super Bowl, and still had to go get jobs in the offseason. Because the owners didn't allow free agency. The owners wouldn't allow them to be bigger than where they were. So now you have a guy like Zach Cunningham, a Laramie Tunsil, an AB. There is, an Odell, if you even want to say that to that factor, that finds a way out of a bad situation because there is free agency. Now, you can trade guys away. I think this is a good thing for him. I was talking to Coach Dave McGinnis, the other day, and he was talking about some of his older players. I was like, Coach, if you still talk to those guys, man, let them know that we appreciate them simply because they laid down the foundation to allow us to live the spoils that we do now, to where we don't have to get a job in the off season and, find ways to make ends meet on giving your all in front of millions of people every single weekend.
Did you ever, which I'm gonna regret asking this question, but
Come
did
on.
you ever go into a season where you're like, yeah, we're probably not gonna win the Super Bowl this year. Like there's not gonna be
And I,
there's not gonna be like we're not gonna be one of those teams. Like ever have one of those seasons where you're like, yeah, we're just not talented enough.
can I be honest with you?
Yes, please.
2019.
Mhm.
And that's the reason I retired before 2020 season.
You saw
Really?
it coming.
I knew the window was closing. Like I feel like I could be hired now.
Yeah.
But if I were to go to a team where I wasn't sure was going to win a Super Bowl or have a real strong opportunity to win a Super Bowl, for me personally, as much as I played, you know, with the way me and my wife and my kids have structured our life as far as saving and being able to live a certain lifestyle, then what am I doing it for? And I love the game, but I also love the game enough not to go out there and put bad tape on film. Adrian Peterson, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
or,
right.
or be below the line, as we like to say. Like, you still can be good, but being below the line, I think, is almost disrespectful to the game whenever you just, I ain't gonna say stealing checks, but that didn't register to me to keep on because I just wanted to steal checks. Like, that wasn't the case to me. So I would say after we had our little spill in 2018, I think it was after the Saints game where we had the legal pushing in the back and the whole AB situation, everything like that. I was of the mindset, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is still here. Tom Brady is still here. You got a bunch of other teams that are getting stronger. And I felt like we had hit that ceiling and had one or two pieces just leave. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to compete and give their all for it. But if I was to tell you, if I was to ask you, do you really believe the Los Angeles Chargers can win the Super Bowl? What are you going to say right now?
I just say no.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, okay, another situation that's a strong case. Baltimore Ravens can win the Super Bowl. Yes or no?
Too banged up. Don't think so.
No. You see what I'm saying? So players know, and players are going to compete. But at the same time, I was real about our situation. I knew that, look, I was just finished year 11 when I retired. And I was like, okay, I could push it if I want to. But why?
Yeah.
If I'm not actually about to go win a ring. That's tough sledding. I honestly think if Larry Fitzgerald, if Arizona actually get a chance to go to the NFC Championship, I could see them potentially just signing him or something like that, because that's his real true chance at getting back to the Super Bowl.
Well, it's a good thing you got out when you did, because man, it's a trash heap this year.
Yeah. I mean, you
they're
know
6-1.
about those years, though. I mean, I never went 2-13. I never
Oh,
was,
my
below
Goodness,
500.
dude. Oh my gosh.
I told you, I'll play this game. I'm good with this game.
Can I just get one like cheap shot in without getting cheap shotted right back?
He's got the ammo to
Yeah,
do
right?
go all day with us.
I know this is literally a David versus Goliath moment right here.
Ramon, looking at kind of the playoff picture as it currently stands, it looks like the division's all but wrapped up for the Titans. They'll get to play at home probably for the majority of the playoffs. The one seed seems to, I mean, crazier things have happened. Don't get me wrong. The Patriots just have the tiebreak in a couple of games that they could lose against the Colts and the Bills still on the schedule. But if you're the Titans and you're still waiting to get some guys back like A.J. Brown, Bud Dupree, your former teammate, and Derrick Henry, obviously, looking at where everyone stands right now, there appears to be 4 teams that the Titans could find themselves matched up against in the first round. That's the Chargers, the Bengals, the Colts, and the Bills. So of those 4 teams, who do you think the Titans would rather play? Who do you think the Titans have a better shot at beating?
Cincy.
I
think Cincy, because their quarterback is still super young, although he is a talent. Their defense is solid, but if the Titans get back the guys they're supposed to get back, if you simply get back, I think AJ. If you get back AJ offensively, I think it changes up. The whole Derrick Henry dream, it would be amazing to happen. It would be amazing to happen. If it's week 18 at like Diana Rossini reported, beautiful. I'd much rather, honestly, run it back with him next year as far as Derrick Henry goes.
You're not going to, you don't want to see him in the playoffs.
Because that foot, I don't want it to be an issue again.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned how Super Bowl windows close and how you can see them close.
I
Yeah,
still
you-
think,
yeah, you
okay,
said that.
okay.
You said that, Ramon.
Okay.
You
Now
did.
this one is still open for these guys simply because if you get a more healthier Derrick Henry, AJ is still back under contract. Julio, you can still bring back also. You figure out the O-line, you keep Taylor, you keep Sappho, figure out if you want to keep Ben again. Nate is still under contract. Questenberry is still cheap enough and under contract also. Tight ends. There's really no tight ends anyway this year.
Maybe draft one.
Exactly. And Tannehill is still under wraps too, with more depth with guys that's played a little bit. NWI this year, I think he shocked a whole lot of people. Dez Fitzpatrick also can grow a little bit more. And even if you drop one of your offensive linemen right now, Dylan Radunz, if he's not the most improved player going into the spring next year, there's a huge problem inside that building. Okay. He's had basically a red shirt year.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think this team, the Titans, can run it back again next year. So aside from that, the team that they can absolutely, I think, beat is probably going to be Cincinnati or the Chargers. The rest of those three that you brought up, the rest of those two that you brought up could be almost toss-ups in a sense because they are just as strong, except for Baltimore, maybe. I think Baltimore is probably, they've seen their best days because of all of, they have superstar injuries. Not just, like special team guys, like they got superstar injuries. So I'd say Cincy, I'd say Chargers are probably sure bets for them to win if they saw either one of them, which is why you want the highest seed.
So, okay, but just to go back to your thought of like, you're like, all right, hang up Derek, keep him healthy for next year. You have a chance to, let's say they get a 1, maybe even a 2 seed into the playoffs. They're like, let's just say they win out and they're in good seating for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like it would be best to just wrap up Derek, say, look, we want you completely healthy for next year when he could, this, better than anyone.
Yeah.
It's a long season. It's even longer now.
It is.
Since you left, they were like, well, we got to make the seasons even longer.
Lucky me.
And so like seasons are even longer. How hard it is for a team like the Titans to get to the place where they're at right now, where they are seated high, where maybe it is like their best shot at like their best path, I guess, to the Super Bowl. You still, with all of that, knowing that even if you do save them for next year, things could go wrong next year. There's a lot of variables that go into the next season, schedule wise. I mean, with the first place, if they finish
you're
first,
gonna play
they're gonna
all
have a tougher
ones.
schedule. Like so many variables go into next year. You still feel like the best decision would be to keep Derek on the shelf.
See, Austin, that's where we're different right there. You're living in your fears right now.
Are you not living in your fears though?
By the way,
Titans fan.
That's a Mike Tomlinism right there. Okay, you're welcome.
It is,
Take that one. You're living in your fears simply because of this. This run game again. I think it's probably been more stagnant because you miss a little bit of AJ too. I think having so many guys in and out is probably what made it this way like that. Also, the teams they're gonna see, they can still beat down. So Austin, your point is, what if it's harder next year? Okay. You mean to tell me Houston is going to be harder next year? No. You mean to tell me Jacksonville is going to be harder next year? If Herb stays, definitely no.
No way he stays.
Look, things can always get harder with Herb. You never know.
Very quickly, yeah.
Right?
I was about to make that. I'm not going there. But also, and so you're up against the Colts. You swept them this year. I think Titans being in the AFC South, they can do the job. They competed with everybody and beat everybody this year again, who were number ones also. You take advantage of that. You got the toughest NFC division out of the way this year. So you're not going to see the NFC West again next year. So if you do bring back Derek and Derek makes a hard cut this year after not letting that bone fully heal, then you lose him again for the offseason. He can't properly train the way Derek did this past offseason, and that's going to suck for him. Mind you, you're dealing with a guy in Lewan who first time being injured, first time Derrick Henry's been injured like this, who took a little while to get started again. What was this whole thing? Why is Lewan not playing the way he wants to? Well, because his knee is probably a little bit messed up. He's a little bit slower. Bud, why is he on IR right now? Because he's got to get right also. A young guy in Pittsburgh, Devin Bush, is another guy. He admitted it today. This ACL surgery has taken away my mental game. So if you get Derek and you put him out there and he gets injured again this year and he got to go into the offseason, I think you probably lose a little bit of him mentally. We saw, who was it that retired because of injuries like that? Andrew Luck
Yeah.
is a guy that retired because he was tired of rehabbing. I'm fortunate enough, I'm blessed enough to never have a major injury, but I've seen guys and I've seen the way that tears at them. I think if you find Deontay Foreman and you let him run and you let those guys get used to him and whoever else is behind him also, I think you can make that same run because they may not respect your run enough to actually allow you to do it, which is why you punch them in the mouth when you can. And again, this teams need a whole lot of rest. The team is going to come back with a whole lot of guys next year too that are still locked in. That defense is locked up except for Harold Landry, maybe that you can probably franchise him. So aside from Harold, defensively, you're locked. I think you come back even stronger next year. I wouldn't rush Derek at all this year because if he does it again, mentally, he might be jacked up. Right now, he's in Superman mode, trying to get back. So shut him down, keep him in Superman mode the entire offseason. So when he's ready to go, you get a 100% Derrick Henry.
So last year is last year, this year is this year, and next year
is next year. Derrick's not a fringe player. He's coming back.
Mm-hmm. So just to be clear, if the Titans are in the AFC Championship game, you're still saying shelf Henry.
Shelf him.
Okay. All right. You're on record.
Hey, who would it be against? Right who do y'all think is Titans versus?
I think the Chiefs. The Chiefs and the Patriots are probably 1-2.
Got one of the most porous run defenses in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
right.
they're
the Patriots don't.
Super Bowl, maybe. Well, the Patriots, that's another conversation to be had.
Yeah.
Why did
I got one more question for you, Ramon. And it doesn't have anything to do with the Titans or the Steelers. Your Tennessee Vols, as much as it pains me to say, have made a bowl game. And they decided, the bowl selection committee decided to pollute the city of Nashville by bringing all of that gaudy orange into the city.
Yes, sir.
First of all, congratulations. I know this has been a long battle, and I mean it will be another long battle as soon as punishments are handed down from the NCAA. But that's for the future.
I mean, they slapped Auburn on the wrist for some fractions that got Bruce Pearl fired.
The rule is to just not comply. I think that's kind of how the NCAA
strong arm them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they've done for so long.
Give me a bold prediction. What do you think is going to happen?
Considering Purdue is probably going to be without their leading receiver, who's also up for the top receiver award, I think UT wins. I like their division that they're in. The Purdue, what are they? Big 12? No, Big 10.
Big 10.
Big 10. But this offense, I didn't honestly believe it was going to be like this. I actually thought I was like, man, I like Heupel. I met him. I was like, I don't know about this, but actually seeing it do work, I was like, oh, this is a little bit different. I don't know if they have the guys to actually stop this. And it's at home. You bring back your starting quarterback said he's coming back for another year also. I think that experience on top of that offense, on top of the way, honestly, that defense has been playing for the Vols, I think it beats them here. It's basically a home game. Even the Purdue fans were mad about it.
Yeah, I would be.
You would?
Well, just because you have to see all that orange on the other side of the field.
I mean, it's beautiful.
No, real talk though, Ramon. Did you like the orange before you went to Tennessee?
100%.
You did?
100%.
Tennessee Vols fan, didn't you?
I would say around 7th, 8th grade. I got introduced to it by my PE teacher, Miss Ann Chipman, and from there I was just like, because I didn't watch a whole lot of ball growing up.
Yeah.
Like. So for me to get introduced to them, and she actually told me then, you're gonna go play at UT, and I was just like, why would you say that?
Come on, Ann.
She's so cool though, by the way.
Yeah. I'm sure she's great, but I bet she's one of those like teachers that wears like Vols earrings.
That sounds like the NCAA should maybe launch an investigation on your 7th grade.
It does sound like that.
They need to worry about that NIL and this free agency they got going on. They got bigger problems.
Statute of limitations. So let's get Emirates on this case here.
Or on this private jet.
Yeah, well, probably. Telling people that
that's the hardest job. That's what Don Draper say? That's what the money's for.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Right? Now, Ramon, I got one last question for you before you go. And it's really just my curiosity. Your as a player, you're going into this like for example, like the Titans this week.
Yeah.
Their division opponent who's nipping at their heels, kind of, the Colts.
Yeah.
plays the Patriots, who the Titans are nipping at their heels for the 1 seed. As a player, like going into like weeks like this, first of all, would you have rooting interests? Like, would you care? And then 2, like if you were a Titan right now, man, you could only be so lucky. Would you want the Colts to win this game to help your chances to get that 1 seed, or would you just want to wrap up the AFC South this week?
I would be rooting for the Colts
to get the 1 seed, to get that bye week.
To get that bye week, because I would bank on the Colts dropping the ball somehow, some way. Yeah. You know, like the Titans are the stronger team for sure when it comes down to those two. But I would look at them like, hey, go do your job, go beat them. Like, and I think that's what I ain't gonna say I think that's what would happen, but I would be rooting for. I found myself in situations like that, with rooting for the other saying, hey, what they're doing, like asking the trainers and the
you
managers.
Would watch, and you would kind of have an idea of like who you needed to win to help your chances out.
This is every game is a playoff game. Like this time of the year is the most exciting, aside from Christmas. Okay, this time of the year is the most exciting for the fans, because if you got a team that's in it, like right now, we're talking about these scenarios right now. Okay, and then if you're on the other side, let's say you're Jacksonville. Let's get this over with and fire out. We're going to fire this coach. Like, it is legitimately the most exciting time of the year when it comes to NFL football, because you found a team last night that finally dropped the L with the Cardinals. So now was that the jump start that the Rams needed on Monday Night Football? Like, this is exciting. So, yeah, I want to see them beat the Patriots, because I think the Titans, if they get that 1 seed, then they have an opportunity to get whatever they need back and go there. If it's the coach's decision to bring back Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
that extra week helps.
I was going to say, it gives them an extra week to get healthy to then keep Derrick on the shelf, right?
Right. I mean, all right. Okay. You see what it's like without Derrick for what is it? 8
that's
games?
What I'm saying. I'm like, look, get him back, back on the field ASAP.
You got a contingency plan in place for next year if he gets hurt again?
No, but that's the thing. You got on me for living in fear. You got on me for living in fear. Like, what about not?
No, it's 2 separate things.
No, that's fear.
No, that's not fear. That's you. I'm telling you, don't trust the guys that are in the room right now. I say save him for next year. That way he's stronger and better. Like, no amount of rehab is going to get that foot, I don't think, correctly healed to where he can cut full speed and then take a hit to it also.
Well, it's an injury that derailed Javon Curse's entire career. I know that.
How did that turn out, Austin?
Yeah. See, I mean,
wait, well, Jack, whose side are you?
No. I'm just saying.
Jack is all about facts here, man.
It's a funky injury that's really hard to predict, and I mean, Derrick Henry, of all people, is even tougher to figure out how his body responds.
It is a Jones fracture, not a like. I'd be like, it wouldn't be, and I guess it would be easier to deal with if it was like a Foster fracture or something.
No. So, Jack, when y'all go out in public, when you and Austin go out in public, do you have a leash around him, man? Because I can tell you're the saving grace to all of this.
It's a good thing that he's in Chicago and I'm in Nashville, or else I might just have to.
You know, the walking in the mall with the leash on them.
Kids on the leash, yeah.
Get over here.
I can't believe that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm one of those parents. You know, it's getting me ready for actual parenthood. So.
I see Austin is all in. He's like, yeah, let's go. Get them all. It's like, no, there's an actual process to managing a team. Austin, slow down a little bit, man.
Look, I'm starting to see why it's Ramon Foster hate week this week. That's why.
You would rule a team like George Steinbrenner, wouldn't you? Just screw the cap. There is no cap because you are the Yankees of GMs.
Derrick Henry has proven time and time again that he is not human. So if he's gonna come back from an injury, like no one's rehabbing harder than he is right now. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? If he wants to come back, yeah, look, I like my chances. Derrick Henry versus
don't lose this game this week
versus the Jones fracture. Derrick Henry versus Chris Jones. I don't care. Okay.
I'm with you. I'm all in with you, Austin.
Derrick Henry versus Indiana Jones. Give it to me. All right.
Every Jones. Mike Jones.
Right. You get yourself into your own temple of doom there. Okay?
Mac Jones.
Right.
Me, Mrs. Jones, every Jones.
Yeah, right. Counting Crows, Mr. Jones. I don't care. All right. Derrick Henry, I like my chances. He is Ramon Foster. Guys, you could follow him on Twitter if you want at Ramon Foster, but you
That'd
do
be
it at
aight.
your own. You do it at your own peril.
He's gonna have busy mentions this week. I guarantee you that.
Right. Yeah. Yes. he
Who,
played
who
for the-
y'all got? Who you got this week? I can get your
Titans.
picks. Titans.
I think the Titans
Blowout?
got 2 touchdowns.
Okay,
Ramon,
2 touchdowns.
Ramon, you come on the Titan Up podcast and you think we're going to pick anyone but the Titans?
Well,
Have
I
you
think
ever
the-
picked anyone not the Titans?
Well, actually,
Ramon-
in our predictions before the season, we did pick the Titans to go 17-0.
We did.
But that
Yeah,
was
we-
because we thought that they could do it.
We did the old look. You work in sports talk radio, so you get it. We went
I
game
do
by
get it.
game. We went game by game and picked each game individually. The old sports talk radio trope.
We're 9-4 on the season.
And yeah, and we went
Okay.
and we
Okay.
both just happened to come across the same record of 17-0. Like
Just
You know, like-
happenstance.
I'm with you.
when we didn't even talk about it ahead of time. We just happened to both have the same record. So
I'm with you until the Jets game.
Yeah.
all right, Lions.
So it's hard. It's hard to be
Tied the
perfect.
Lions. All right. That's I
Didn't
would much rather.
lose. Didn't lose.
Oh my gosh. I'm
This week
regretting-
is important for us.
Do we have to air this,
this is
interview?
personal.
Can we just throw this one in the
And you don't even know who I'm picking yet.
Oh my
That's
God.
what's so crazy.
Well, we
I'll
actually
listen on
are.
Friday.
No,
You may
well-
have to call in and give him some hell.
So this
Yeah,
podcast,
please.
podcast drops after your show on Friday. Do you want to go ahead and give us your pick right now?
No,
Why not?
because I'll text what's his name right here? I'll text Jack.
All right, text me.
All right, text Jack your
Look
your-
at
your
him.
prediction.
Look at him, eager beaver over here, man.
He wants to know, Ramon. Your opinion matters to us on this
Look,
show.
he was the Steeler for over a decade. He's evolved for life. You can catch him every weekday morning on 104.5 The Zone. But really, just the most notable thing about him, he's the slowest player on Madden. He is Ramon Foster. Look, Ramon, I love you every week, but this one.
I know. I've heard. We've had some devout, like really
Every week with
strong
this one.
fans.
Legit.
By the way, Ramon's text just came in. He said Titans 56, Steelers nothing. I hate
oh
the
wow!
terrible
No
towels.
wonder he
They're
didn't
ugly.
want to say it. That explains it.
I can't believe you were that passionate about it.
Wait,
One of
this
us.
is gonna be a big weekend,
And
guys.
wait, hold on. Did it also say? Oh, you just forwarded me the text. Yeah, it also says, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could have played for the Titans franchise." That's weird to throw.
All you have to
into
do
a
is
prediction.
show up late for a COVID test, Ramon.
No, I would have much rather played for the Oilers, man.
Oh wow.
Because y'all got 2 fan bases, man.
Sure.
Same franchise though.
That's
dude.
what I
Same
was
franchise.
thinking. I'm with you.
Okay.
I don't
all right,
discriminate against it.
all right.
I played for Coach Munch. Thank
We-
y'all for him, by the way. Munchak.
No, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, gladly. You're welcome.
Didn't even no regret behind it. Just you're welcome.
Yeah, no, take him.
Just didn't work
dude,
out, you know.
Goodness, my goodness. That's it. You want to talk about Peter principle?
Hey, Hall of Famer.
Sure, Hall of Famer, great with the organization. I love Mike Munchak. You know, I grew up a Penn State fan. He's a Penn State.
Did you?
Yeah. He's a. I love Munchak.
Huh.
Just don't want him to ever be my head coach ever again.
That's real. That's real. I respect your
And
thoughts.
you know what? We're only going to keep it real with Ramon Foster because you know what? Last week was last week. This week is this week. And Ramon, can you help me? What's next week?
We'll see on Monday. Because it might be hell.
All right. All
God.
right.
Ramon. Ramon, thanks so much for coming on, man. I know you got a busy schedule. This is a busy time of the year for you.
Dog.
Really appreciate chatting with you, man.
Thank you, dude.
He's gonna need a towel in the mouth. If it won't be your wife won't be the only person going through labor pains. If,
I'm literally spitting out my mouthpiece onto the mat right now. That's what I'm doing.
with gunpowder and alcohol in your wounds if this doesn't work out Sunday.
Yeah. But if it does,
You'll be hearing from us, Ramon.
yeah, you will be hearing from all 3 of our
I
accounts.
know.
Jack's account, my account, and our Tighten Up podcast account.
I know.
All right,
I appreciate you guys, man.
No,
Love
thank
you, man.
Ramon. Seriously, we appreciate it, dude. This
No
has been
problem.
a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it.